Hey everyone, it's Anand Bhutani. Today I want to cover 8 retention strategies that CRAs should be sharing with the PIs and research coordinators that they work with. After all, you put in all those resources behind patient recruitment efforts. So how do you ensure that they'll stick around for the entire study? Well, you want patients to stick around, considering retaining patients means better data, which leads to a stronger relationship between research sites and sponsors. A CenterWatch study has reported that an average of 25% of participants drop out of studies. That's surprising. Well, guess what? It's actually not uncommon to see even up to 40% dropout rates, according to sites that I have spoken with personally. Unfortunately, dropout is unavoidable, and countless things can interfere with patients after they randomize that chip away at your site's retention rates. But don't worry, there are many solutions to get your patients to follow through and complete the study. To implement these solutions, it's important to understand the patient's perspective. A patient's negative perceptions can cloud the idea of clinical research and make potential participants afraid of clinical trials, which you want to avoid at all costs. Patients can be under the assumption that clinical trial treatment would be less effective than the standard of care, or possibly worse if they get the placebo. These are things that you have to proactively combat to let them know that there are alternative benefits to clinical trials. So go through them step by step. It helps to explain the stringent FDA guidelines required to approve human clinical trials. Therefore, these patients could falsely believe that they're volunteering for something unknown if you don't tell them otherwise, and something that's unregulated if they're not informed otherwise. Another fear that they may face is out-of-pocket expenses to participate in the trial. So help combat this and let them know there won't be many. Patients have many misconceptions about clinical trials because they have never been educated about the benefits of clinical trials to expand the perspectives of them. These are things that we do at TrialJoin actively to educate patients, and it has paid off tremendously. Our clients have enjoyed more educated and engaged patients since they randomize quicker and they stay in the study longer. It's something you should start doing as part of your patient recruitment strategy to educate your patients a little bit further about clinical research. After you spend valuable time and money to recruit these patients, it's important to use the following tips to help keep them in your study. The first tip is have a quick response. The amount of time you spend responding to an inquiry will determine the likelihood of a patient staying in your study or not. Data from TrialJoin proves that a quick response results in more randomization and higher retention. A site who contacts the referral within the first 48 hours has 3 times more patient randomization than someone who waits 7 days to contact that patient. When potential patients reach out to you, they are at the highest level of interest, and at that point they'll be quicker responding to you, and the better you have chances of having them continue the study. Think of when you had long hold times calling in for customer service for your computer or cell phone bill. If there are quicker response times there, you'd probably have a more positive experience, wouldn't you? This is true when you're recruiting, and just as true as when you're conducting the study and you want to retain those patients in your study. The best approach is to make notes and create tasks in your clinical trial management system. Using a CTMS system will make a world of difference in organizing the task for you and your team. The system will help you manage the calendar of visits, protocols, essential other notes that you need to remind yourself of, and other reminders for follow-ups. Here's some of the resources worth checking into in no specific order. There's Biooptronics Clinical Conductor, there's ClinEdge's system, and Forte Research Systems. When you use TrialJoin service for patient recruitment, we have a built-in communication reminder system with your patient. So if you're not able to reach them within 48 hours, they'll be aware of the fact that you'll be reaching out soon. So helps you kind of keep them in the loop. The second tip is to maintain constant communication. This is so vital. The fundamental problems sites face is the lack of proper communication. Clinical trials especially require consistent relationship building to achieve study follow-up and follow-through. This requires the development of reciprocal or two-way communication. Patients should have a main contact with whom they can build rapport and trust. You have to focus your attention on developing behaviors patients can benefit from. Qualities that influence patients to participate in trials, including reflective listening, providing support, and being attentive to their needs. One area that you can achieve great communication with minimal effort is through educational materials. One idea of this is monthly email newsletters. That keeps your patients informed of all activities. For email marketing solutions, check out Aweber, Constant Contact, or MailChimp. We can help you set up any of those if you need, so feel free to reach out to me whenever. Use email marketing to send updates about clinical trials, milestones reached, upcoming events, and links to any applicable news for the patients. Since the study protocol regulates communication with participants, which means you should do your own diligence before communicating patients in regards to the study, but you can send them information outside of it with less governance. Also look into using chatbots on your websites and Facebook page. TrialsRun has helped many research sites and sponsors set up chatbots for their studies to reduce time and communication efforts by up to 30%. Reach out to me on LinkedIn to discuss implementing chatbots for your studies. While automated methods are great, don't still forget to do personal calls to remind your patients of upcoming visits and to maintain study compliance. The third tip is maintaining attentive listening. The most important aspect of communication is listening, and that includes listening to their behavior. So be attentive to nonverbal cues that indicate patients may be unhappy or confused about the study-related information. Allow multiple avenues to listen to your patients, including a comment box, an online feedback forum that allows them to submit stuff anonymously. While you should be dedicating time in person to actively listen to your patients' concerns, questions, and feedback, the use of social media can also help you better understand your patients. Social media is great for patient recruitment, but be sure to follow HIPAA and IRB requirements. Definitely consult your legal team if you're ever unsure of what you can or cannot do. Social media is described as listening rather than communicating. This is because you need to understand how your audiences use social media. It can be different in every audience. If you do this, it will pay compounding returns. So familiarize yourself with social media conventions ranging from hashtags, acronyms, memes, and more. Spend time informally listening to patients by reading their comments. Doing so will help you grasp a better understanding of the needs that they have and their concerns. Approach as if you were doing market research to learn about sentiments about clinical trials. When you start looking at social media channels, you may automatically think of Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. However, there are more specific websites and blogs out there as well. For Alzheimer's, some examples are Alzheimer's Speaks, Creating Memories, Strangers in Our House, and Journey with Dementia. Take note of the culture and etiquette of these communities. So take time to introduce yourself to the moderator and learn the rules and policies established. Each community has their own rules and regulations. Read previous posts of the group and seek to understand the perception of clinical research. This will help you become sensitive to the patient's need and respectful to their wants. You'll learn plenty from here to help you keep patients in your study. It's a great way to improve your patient centricity as well. There are great tools that you can use, such as Boom Sonar, to monitor, measure, and analyze your social media activities. TalkWalker is another great one, which helps you also monitor and analyze your social media data and is recommended by brands worldwide. Also use Google Alerts to update you of any mentions of your clinical research site or your staff members around the web. The fourth tip is to offer additional services. Offer services that allow you to be accommodating and providing conveniences that will ensure the patients to keep volunteering for your study and referring others to your research site. Keep plenty of parking available, maintain a good waiting room experience, and overall cleanliness of the presentation of the clinic itself. One other thing is providing after hour 5 p.m. or later clinic times and weekends as well will help a lot of the patients that you work with participate since they do work. Combining that with simple amenities such as coffee, tea, and water will leave them with a positive experience. For example, a great addition is a Keurig coffee to offices. It's an easy one-cup disposable system that offers fresh coffee, which minimizes the work for your staff of constantly brewing coffee, while at the same time offering multiple options to the patients of coffee blends. One research I mentioned how this simple addition led to a patient saying the coffee is the main reason they come to their appointments. Funny enough. The fifth tip is to keep a positive attitude. The entire team's attitude has to remain positive at all times. Patients will soak up the attitude the team gives off like a sponge, so it's important to keep everyone enthusiastic and supportive. It brings more happiness into both the patient's and the staff's life, and will lead to better satisfaction for everyone. The way you can set the tone for attitude right every day is by having positive stories shared during the morning meetings, and if you feel comfortable, lead a positive affirmation session with the team. Meditation is another great way to improve daily work tolerance and to help reduce stress levels. Think about setting up meditation time at your office for better performance from your staff. It's something that we do every day at TrialJoin, and it has yielded us great benefits. A lot less stress and more focus. The sixth tip is to have great training. Great customer service doesn't just happen. It requires you to identify positive experience points and then properly train and create a process to make them repeated daily. Pay attention to touch points with patients so that way you can make sure you understand the entire picture to avoid any gaps in service. The main skills that you should be trained are empathy, patience, and consistency. Customers/patients will come in all shapes and sizes. Some will piss you off, and others will ask too many questions, and others who will just create a never-ending conversation. Learn to navigate these and practice phrases to deal with these situations in friendly ways. One idea is to simplify the scale of your efforts in this area by recording short bite-sized videos your team can watch and rewatch. If you have read any of my other articles or seen any of my videos, you know that I always advocate you to do this. You can do this with your phone to record a role-playing session with a staff member that show different patient interactions. You can use staff training software such as TrialJoin Staff Training Solution, which will track what your staff has been trained on and what they haven't, and what they should be reminded of throughout the year to refresh their memory as well. The seventh tip is to have great customer experience. Yes, I know I said customer, so it's the same thing as patients. Patient service or customer service is what separates you from your competitors. Volunteers need a pleasant experience to make them show up for subsequent visits more so. So if they are treated with respect and care, it'll help them pass on the good sentiments about your clinical trials and your research site with their friends and family. Have you ever called a business and felt like the person on the other end was in a rush? This happens all too often and can easily be fixed by slowing down your greetings from a rapid one hello to adding a few seconds to it. The entire call can go differently, and patient's perception of it will be a positive experience instead of a neutral one or a negative one. This is where you can bring together the strategies for communication, listening, and additional services to tie it all nicely together. The eighth tip is to follow up frequently. Even after the initial contact and the follow-up and the follow-through, send the study information during every call to make a reason to follow up with the patient. You may have to follow up 3 to 7 times before a patient comes in, and it is difficult participating in clinical trials, so be sympathetic of that. The same thing applies to getting them into subsequent appointments. If your CTMS is limited in patient engagement or communication features, there are another class of software called Customer Relationship Management Tools, or CRMs, made exactly for that purpose, to engage people. There's a tool called Salesforce, vTiger, and Zoho, just to name a few of them. Most of these tools have the ability to set up workflows to remind you when to follow up, task management, and many other things used by salespeople, which can be benefited by people in clinical research. All these strategies aren't meant to overwhelm you, but to give you tools and tips to help you retain more of your patients in your study. You spend a lot of time and effort getting them, so keep them in the trial. If you have ever any additional questions about the things I covered above, reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll gladly help you. Children has many software solutions and services to help you easily fix these patient recruitment challenges as well, so reach out to us if you have any requests. We may have a tool already built out that can suit your needs. So until next time, this is Anand signing out. Hopefully you enjoyed this session, and stay tuned for our next one. Remember to like the video if you did enjoy it, and leave any comments to give me additional ideas of stuff you'd like to be covered or things I may have missed. Your feedback goes a long way. Thank you.